I can hear you now. That is so bizarre.
I told you something was going to happen.
Look at the time. Hold on. I want to bring back the YouTube people that are listening to YouTube. Look at the time. So it's coming back, and I want to. Wow.
Do you realize it happened around the same time when it happened with the part 1?
That's exactly what I text you through my phone was look at the time. That is exactly that. We're back. So for those that are, please, hopefully people will be jumping in here in a minute, back in YouTube. I hope they don't.
Hi, Jeff.
I'm back. This is one of the weirdest things that I've ever. I don't want to say weird. It is weird. I'll have to piece these together because it just kicked off again. That is so bizarre.
I did tell you earlier before showtime that hopefully nothing weird would happen.
Well, of course it's going to happen.
Yeah. It will happen because I'm here.
And hopefully our listeners will come back to the show. There we go. It's picked back up. So we have that on YouTube. And if they don't, what I'll do is I'm definitely going to audio, put these videos together and everything so they can see that we had that.
I feel bad for you because it creates more work, but at the same time, we're providing live entertainment.
Well, but the thing is that it is part of the
topic,
because we had the same issue. And for those, I do see people coming back in on YouTube. So for you guys that are joining us on YouTube, what happened was I lost my internet connection, so people don't, this is not cable. This is not DSL. I have a fiber optic line that runs to my house. I actually had it put in to the studio here in the house. And this is business class. So this is like when it goes down, the telco company has to pay me money for lost revenues. So I can tell you that these things don't go down. Even during the hurricane that we had, when it came through, I didn't lose the internet. We lost power. We didn't lose the internet because it was the cable, unless the cable was blown over. What we did is we lost power to the internet. So it was so weird. But for us to lose, I've never had this happen. This is bizarre.
I was going to say, every time you want to make money, you should just call me on the show.
That's right. Yeah, I have a service level agreement with them, an SLA they call it in the business, that basically says that if for whatever reason, if I'm down 99.9% is their SLA, they have to keep it up. So 3 hours a year, I think, is what it works out to. If I'm down more than 3 hours a year, they got to pay me. So, which it looks like we're still having problems because it looks like YouTube is freezing up. Sasha, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I'll just make sure the radio is going. And YouTube is freezing up for those that are on YouTube. But it is what it is. We do radio and everything. So, it seems like
you're taken aback by the fact that it happened.
Yeah. No, come on. I never. What I'm taking up, what is, no. You've entered the Twilight Zone. What has gotten me is the fact that it happened at the same time, roughly the same time that it happened before.
It caught my attention. I said, wait, I remember our segment was about an hour, 55 minutes or 2 hours, and then it blacked out.
Yeah. Yeah, it did about the same time that it did before. Wow. We got to figure out what's going on at 1:30, 1:36 to 1:46 in the morning.
Am I the only guest that has encountered that?
Yeah. No,
okay.
I will tell you this. We had one incident on our website. Let me tell you, I actually posted, do you have an iPhone?
I have one for a contractual agreement, but not a personal iPhone.
Okay. I actually posted on the web. You don't ever want to do this. I posted on the web on how to see if the government is snooping on your phone, how the NSA is looking on your phone. I only have it for the iPhone only. So I posted that on the web, the instructions, what you do, and how you check if the government is actually attached to your iPhone. And needless to say, the next day, my website was taken down. So I called my provider, which these guys are great guys. I've been with them for 10, 15 years almost. They do a lot of hosting and stuff. I even send a lot of business to them. So I called them and I'm like, what's going on? And they said, oh, you got a denial of service attack on your server. And I'm like, it's sure. And it's not like a denial of service because I was thinking, well, maybe, when you post something like that on the internet, you might have a few million people. So maybe my server is just getting pounded right now, because that's what it was acting like. And they're like, no, Jeff, you got a denial of service. So I was like, well, what are we going to do? And they're like, oh, we're switching your site over to Greenland because it's illegal for the government because of that's international now. The United States government is now attacking a server on a foreign country, which is actually an act of war or could be construed. So they moved all of my websites over to the servers in Greenland. That's the only time I've ever had an issue on this show, is that time, and then of course with you.
I shouldn't be flattered.
No, it's all right.
I'm a little bit ashamed because I feel bad now. Every time you think of my name, you're going to be thinking, if I bring her back.
I know. I think it's awesome. What we're going to do, though, I will tell you this: we're going to give everybody a warning before I bring you on. I'm going to say, look, Sasha has a tendency of knocking down my internet. And so please bear with us. If you lose connectivity, give it 5 minutes and then join back.
That's a good way of saying, because we are covering a good topic, energy. And now you know that I'm not joking about how technology and things go awry in my surroundings. Mm-hmm. I just pray to God that the fire alarm will not go off while I'm on air with you.
Yeah, leave. Yeah, right. If the fire alarm goes off, leave. Of course, take care. Always think of yourself and everything. So before we were so rudely interrupted, what were we at? We were talking about redemption, my personal, all those things that I went through, and bad karma, good GB.
Right, atonement. And then I was commending you for the emotional intelligence for taking accountability. Oh. Because a lot of people don't want to take accountability and they just walk around with that negative baggage.
Yeah. I mean, well, like I said, negative, that's the nice thing about negative energy. Negative always wants to seek positive, but positive never wants to seek negative. Never, truly. It never does. And those people that go, well, I wanted to go to the dark side. That's not positive energy talking. That's negative energy trying to ruin your life. Whatever it may be. I tell people, if you're a positive person and you have negative thoughts, you might want to check to see, what entities are messing with you. Because we are light. We are creatures of light. That's what human, man, if you break it down, that's what we are. That is the man is creature of light. So we are positive just in our nature. We choose to do things or to lead ourselves to negative. That's my belief. So, oh well.
Pretty philosophical, Jeff.
Yeah, we get deep on this show. We get into some deep topics. Hey, I hope you guys learn. What else to talk about at 1 o'clock in the morning, right?
True. We covered a lot, and I got to learn a lot about you in a brief period of time.
I think a lot of people on the air learned a lot about me in a brief period of time. A lot of people know where I'm coming, but like I said, it's part of my ministry. I'm not gonna run away from it. It is what it is. It is what makes me now. One of the coolest things I've learned too in all of this is to listen to your inner voice. we've had guests on here that call it your higher voice, your higher whatever. I think actually we have techniques that help you achieve and listen to your higher self, your divinity self, or what I think. I don't know. I think I already do that to some degree, because when I started this radio show and it got back onto the air, and that was one of the reasons why I stopped one of my other podcasts when a lot of people were like, you were successful doing that, but it was so negative. It was so
politics.
Yeah, it's so hateful. People ask me about the debate and stuff, and it's like, whatever. I'm sorry. I'll be honest. This is part of the atonement thing. I was waiting for a fight. That's the only reason why I wanted to watch. I thought I was going to watch a boxing match, and it wasn't a boxing match, so I turned it off. I would like to see Hillary just beat the crap out of Donald. That was a joke.
I cannot wait till the elections are over, because I'm tired of turning on the radio, the newspaper, anything.
It's a distraction. It really is. It's all a distraction of what, as we sit here, and Derek was on the show last night, and as we sit here and we think about who's going to be the next president, at the end of the day, there are kids, there are families being barrel bombed in Syria. There are, there's famine. There's all sorts of, we're closer to at war with Russia than we've ever been. And and yet we're sitting here arguing about now. Granted, everybody thinks that whoever gets elected is going to be our savior, and that's ill-placed. I'm a firm believer that that's ill-placed, because you've got to, it's kind of like me going to my rehab. Yeah, it might slow it down, but until you get right with yourself, and this country needs to get right with itself before and that's not going to come from a figurehead. That's not going to come from a president. It's got to come from us. And, that's why that interview I did with Gerard was so important, is that we can change that now. Just know thyself. And then once you get to know yourself and what makes you tick and what makes you happy, then wish that onto the person next to you. When you're in the grocery store and, wish someone a great day, instead of when someone cuts you off and instead of hitting your horn and flipping the bird and saying negative things towards them, just wish them, say, hey, I hope you get to wherever you got to go safely. I mean, obviously you have to go somewhere. There's something important that you have to be at, and don't dwell on why they are doing what they're doing, but just wish them safety in their travel and hope that they don't hurt someone else. 'Cause who knows? They might hurt a family. You never know.
You never know when you're on the road what will happen.
Exactly. And when people are negative to you, the best way to turn that negativity around is just wish them a great day. And then if they want to be a-holes towards you because you do that, or think you're a whatever, then, once again, that's on them. That's not on you. And move on. Like I said, those people that are out to get, eventually will be on their own island. But like I said, I actually think they are already on their own spiritual island. And that's why they're so negative that's why they have to have positive, they view, and this is a thought that I didn't write it down. That's why it took me a while to get back to the thought. I have witnessed so many people who have in their craziness thought that they needed to have a bigger house. We did. Sandy and I did. We built this huge house, and we were miserable. They think they need to have the big house. They think they need to have the car. They think they need to have whatever it is. And the problem is that, you might have, here's a good case in point. You might have a pool in your backyard, and that's really cool that you have a pool in your backyard. But did you create a lot of stress getting that pool? I'll be the first one to tell you, we built a pool in the backyard. We created a lot of stress building that pool. Now, is it worth it? Yeah. At the end of the day, I enjoy it. I go out there every day. But did it create a lot of stress? Yeah, absolutely. So was it the best thing? I don't know. I'm still contemplating that in my process yet. And maybe the fact that I didn't come back immediately and say, yes, it was the best thing we ever did. That's probably giving me the answer, because it did create a ton of stress.
So with that huge home, did you keep it or did you sell it?
Got rid of that sucker. We were in it less than 2 years. We were miserable. We bought it was a huge house. It was 3,700 square feet total. Wow. Yeah. It was 27, 2 stories. And then it had another 1,000 square foot basement. It wasn't finished, but it had a bathroom, and it was going to be our theater room. And we were we were miserable. We were fighting like cats and dogs the whole time. And
what was it about the house? Do you feel it was the maintenance of the house, or
it was
putting
the maintenance.
in so much energy?
Yeah, it was the maintenance of it. It was, you get out, you're on a 1/4 acre, so you have to mow the grass every week. A house that big is you have to keep it clean, and cleaning it, and all the bedrooms and everything, and we spent all of our free time, working on that, maintaining the lifestyle, I guess, is what it was. And now we actually have more land now than we did even back then. We live in a much smaller house, and we love it. I can take a blower now. Let Sandy get mad at me for saying, but I can take a one of those yard blowers, and I can have this house clean in like 20 minutes. It's like it's easy. It's perfect for us, and it's manageable. That's the thing. It's manageable, and life is good.
I like that you share that, because a lot of the times people want things that are greater than life, and they don't even know if they could handle it.
Yeah, they have people. I can tell you, people want a jet, right? Oh, I want a jet. Really? You really? Let me break down what a jet costs you, because I know firsthand. It's funny. I tell people, well, here's a good example. People want to live in Chicago. Here's, I think, a more realistic example than a jet. People want to live in Chicago, live in a big city. You live in a big city, so you can probably attest to this, correct? Are you in New York?
I come from major cities like New York City, East Coast and West Coast, and people go to all great lengths to have that experience. And then you realize at the end of the day, I could speak for myself. I'm a suburb girl at heart.
Yeah.
I love to have the life of the city, but I don't think I would want to keep up with that at all.
I told people all the time when I moved to Chicago, I told them, I said, and this is in like 97. I moved to Chicago in 1997. I told them, I said, unless you're making $120,000 to $150,000 a year, don't even think about it. And they were like, what? It's like, because your rent is going to be anywhere to live in a nice, safe place in the city. You're, in a high rise with a doorman or whatever. Your rent, not your mortgage, but your rent is going to start at $1,500 a month and then go up from there. Then you got this thing called a car that you have to park. That's going to cost you another $300 to $500 a month for the garage, for the parking garage. Then you got your cost of, so all these people put unrealistic expectations on themselves. And it's like, why do you want to put that stress on yourself? And they justify, well, I get a better job. And I say, can you really? A job that you have to commute now 2 hours, you have to either A, go into debt to do, or B, you have to commute 2 hours to get to. Is it really a better job?
Right, giving up the quality of life.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people don't think it through. They think about the numbers of what they're getting paid, or they just want to run from their present reality if they're at a bad job, but they don't realize that you might end up having less money.
Yeah, at the end of the day. Yeah, That's right. At the end of the day, when you add, well, then you're absolutely right. Quality of life. Now, one of the things, if you have money left over, and that's why I said, if you want to live in the city, if you're making the mid 6 figures, then okay, because now your quality of life, you can enjoy what a city has for you. You can enjoy the opera. You can enjoy the productions. You can enjoy the museums. You can enjoy that. But, I don't know that many people that have high to mid-level right off the bat. So you got to stop putting yourself in situations which cause you to have angst and anxiety, because that's negative energy. And, I've been there though. I can tell you, it's just not worth it. There's so much to be said that live within your means. And that doesn't mean don't strive for something greater. That does not mean at all. A lot of people think that when people say live within your means, that doesn't mean you can't be great and don't strive for greatness. It just means that, raise your bar as you raise your bar and enjoy life. But the other thing too, I find so many people, they think that their happiness is in a car or a boat I went through this with a boat. I love my boats, but once again, it's smashed up. I'm now sad because my boat's probably going to be destroyed. They're going to salvage it. And, that's sad to me. So now I got to think, do I buy another boat? No, probably not.
It's interesting how now and then we have a connection to things that we hold dear. Yeah. And then even though you plan on holding on to it, something happens beyond your control.
Yeah.
And it gets salvaged, and then you have to start all over again. But I believe there's some inner wisdom within that.
Yeah. Well, God talks to you. God has that's one of the things I've always said. God does talk to you in really mysterious ways. Maybe God's telling me that, hey, Jeff, you don't need a boat right now. So I'm going to take that burden away. I always look at things. That's the difference in me and other people now. That's the difference in the old Jeff and the new Jeff. The new Jeff is like, instead of looking at it negative, like, oh, I lost my boat. To me, that's God saying he's lifting that burden off from me. And I got to think of it that way. I got to think of it that like that. Obviously there's something in the future that I'm unaware of and I'm not privy to that he just released me from. So, oh well. As Sandy says, I'll buy me a little model ship. I'll put it in the pool.
How deep is the pool? Is it 6 feet?
Yeah, 6 feet. Yeah, it's a modest pool. It's a very modest. It's nice though. We love. It's perfect for us and the grandkids when they come over. And it's perfect. It's a little pool, but it's got the swim jet. Oh my gosh, we put the swim jets in it as part of the pool. It's fun. It's fun. It's a pool. It's a full. Well, it's 6 feet deep, and it goes. I guess it's 20 feet by 15 feet wide. So it's not that small, but it's got swim jets. So it's got the infinity swimming, so you can swim forever.
I can't recall, but I could have sworn you told me you were about 6'4" or 6.5 feet tall, right?
I am 6'5". Yeah, I'm 6'5".
Oh, in between.
Yeah, I'm 6'5", and I'm built like if you want to know, yeah, Jeff Norton. If you want to know my physical attributes, I'm 6'5", so I'm as tall as Michael Jordan, right? And I am as big as one of those guys that play professional football. A lineman, an offensive lineman. Actually, I've got quite a few. I've got some size on some of those guys. A little bit more. Here's a case in point. I was coming back from Puerto Rico on an airplane, and there was a center he plays for the Miami Dolphins, and he's looking at me. He's kind of looking at me funny. He's like, "What team do you play for?" And I was like, "I don't play football," But he was asking. Because I'm built like a lineman. And, obviously I'm much older, but he was asking, he's like, do you, oh. And it's like, no, never did. I was just always a big guy. Always. So
now your drinking threshold makes sense.
What?
That you could carry much
but wait a minute. Back then though, let me tell you the thing. Back then, when I was drinking, I was 6'5". I was about 185.
Wow, so you were skinny for that.
Super skinny. I was about 185 to 215. Was my weight during those times. Yeah, 32. I wore 32, 36 pants.
So you were on an alcohol diet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, alcohol, all the other drugs too, not just alcohol. I was alcohol, I was on cocaine and some other pretty nasty stuff. So, yep. Yeah, food was like, you're sitting there going, $80. I gotta buy my drugs. What am I going to do? Am I going to eat a Big Mac or am I going to buy my drugs? I'm going to buy my drugs. So, yeah, it's a horrible life. It really is. That's why, everybody that I hear these people who say, especially, well, around here, we have a lot of meth heads. And it's funny because with my background, you would think that I would be sensitive. It's like, no, because you gotta, something woke me up. And we need to wake people up and get them off these drugs. We have to. And that doesn't mean coddle. I'm not a coddler. Never was. It wasn't, someone coddling me. All that did was enable me. It made me feel sorry for myself even more. And, oh, woe is me. Look at me. I'm not one of those. For me, it was, I needed someone to kick me square in the butt. And like I said, I got kicked square in the butt. Like I said, when you wake up and you're, yeah. And it was really cool. The guy that actually took me to rehab was a priest who went to rehab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he dropped me off. And as we were going, he was like, hey, is there anything you want to do before we go? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you want to stop at a bar? You want to go to your drug dealer's house, get you some? I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, sure. Let's go. We'll do it. He goes, I'll drop you by. If you want to go in there and buy yourself some drugs or whatever, do it right before you go into rehab. He goes, because when you go to rehab, he said, you'll never do it again. So that was kind of cool. Oh, well, no, it wasn't cool, but it was, what I'm saying? It was at the time was. Did
you take advantage of that opportunity?
No, I was like, no, I'm going to rehab. I wish I would have though.
Was there a part of you that felt there's a catch if he'll take me to the bar or pick up my cocaine?
No, he was taking me to rehab. I mean, I don't think there's alternative motive there. No, I think what it was is he was saying, look, you're making a commitment to stop. And, if you want to blow out one more party, then let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it right now. But no, it was an interesting period. But it took 8 years. Rehab, like I said, is all that's doing is getting it out of your system. I don't care what people say. You don't magically come out of rehab and have all the wisdom. That's why I listen to these stars and they come out of rehab and they're, good luck. I'll see you back on the wagon. It took, and I'm not taking anybody's inventory, to each their own. If you can do it, then God bless you. But it took me 8 years. Like I said, I had that epiphany. I'm sitting in a 12-step program. And of course, Big Mouth Jeff blurts out, and then come to find out, God kind of said, oh, that wasn't for him. I was talking to you. That's what I thought was funny. And that's when I knew, what's really funny about that whole story? That's when I knew that I was connected with God. Because I had that process in that's when I knew. And I knew God was cool because he allowed me to shove my foot in my mouth one more time before he actually set me straight. So yeah. Nope. It looks like people are coming back. Yes, everybody. I want to know. So you guys, I want to let you guys know that everybody's now coming back into the chat room. They found us again. All right. So those that don't know Sasha's last appearance, at about 11:36, and I remember the time, 11:36, we got knocked off the air from the hurricane. At 11:46, 10 minutes later, it was about 11:45, we get knocked off the air again. Or, I mean, 1, not 11. 1. 1:46, and at 1:36 and 1:45, we get knocked off again with Sasha. And that's never happened. So yeah, everybody's back. I see them in the chat room again. That is so bizarre. You are that's so rude. I don't want to say that. You're the sucker of energy. No, you're an energy vampire, Sasha.
I don't think you'll ever have me back, because if you have me, no one will tune in. They'll be thinking, when is she going to drop?
Oh, no, I'll have you back just to prove it. If it goes 3 times, then it's definitely
me.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back. I think that's what, you know what it is? I think that the energy is going, how are you feel? I feel energetic. I feel alive. How do you?
I'm feeling good.
All right, yeah, 1:30 in the morning. So there's obviously some energy going back and forth here.
Right, about 3 hours before showtime, I was a little bit anxious, thinking, why am I feeling a little bit anxious? I hope the show will go on.
Yeah. No, and it was at a good crescendo, and it was doing the same thing the last time. We were at a like great crescendo there, yeah. We were there. We're at the peak, and boom, it just happened. It's awesome. I love it. I know you're like, no, I love it. I think it lends credence to what we're talking about, energy, and how we are in an energy-filled universe. One of the questions, and I'm just going to blow through these breaks. One of the questions, so Sasha, you actually communicate though in the spiritual realm too, like you see dead people.
I see spirits now and then, but they present themselves. Let me put it this way. I don't go looking for them, but if they are in my vicinity and they are aware that I may be able to identify them, they will appear to me. And sometimes they appear and they seem really real, as it's a human body before me, but there's a part of me that could tell it's just a passing spirit.
Yeah.
I've had those instances, and some of them have been really, they left a strong impression on me that no matter how much time passes, I can't shake it off. Yeah. Some of them, they talk to me. Usually I see them from a distance, and they're just passing, going about doing their own thing. Just like human beings, we like attention. Now and then there are spirits that are good and bad, and they also want that acknowledgement by somebody who may be able to see them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do something really stupid here in the next couple months. So and I want to make sure you're available when this happens. We've put out there, and it looks like it's going to happen. I've been in contact with a couple people that are arranging it there in Ohio. I've always wanted to do a live show from a haunted location. All by myself. I don't want, you see these haunted shows where people go in there with a group of people or whatever.
Right.
I don't want to do that. I want to be in the room or in the building or in the facility all by myself, no one else, just me, the show. So a few thousand listeners and maybe a guest. And I want to walk through these buildings or experience that. And I'm going to get with Lloyd Auerbach, who's going to be joining. He's a guest, but he's the scientific guy. He's from the Parapsychology Institute. And we're going to hook up EEGs, not EKGs, but EEGs. So I want to see brainwave activity. Obviously, I want to hook up heart monitors, all that stuff as I do this. And they're arranging for me to stay at a haunted bar, which is kind of ironic since we've been talking about everything, but the bar owner doesn't have to worry about me drinking his inventory. I'm cured. No. But, so I'm going to stay at a haunted bar one night, and then the next night they're trying to get me to stay at a penitentiary there in Ohio, which is it was where the Shawshank Redemption was recorded, but it's been on a few ghost hunter shows, and I'm going to stay in there all by myself, locked up. And of course they're going to put video cameras throughout the building, but it's just going to be me and the ghosts. You think it's a wise thing, or?
Well, you're a man's man, Jeff. So I have faith in you.
I'm going to have you though. I'm going to be like, Sasha, what kind of energy are you feeling? Do I need to turn around or no? Do I don't need to turn around?
I'll probably just drop on the phone call because I'm the type, but I usually joke around with a few of my close friends because they know how I feel about spirit work. I don't go looking for it, but if it comes through, of course, I will acknowledge it if the context is there. So knowing that you're going out there, did you pick the location or did someone make a suggestion and you said, I'll take you up on the challenge?
All right. So you guys know, I was on a radio show Sunday with a group of people from Ohio. And I told them that I wanted to do this. And they were like, we'll find a place. And they have followed through with it. They actually have two bills. They already talked to the manager of the bar and he's all game for it. They are now in contact with the prison. Now, this prison thing, what has to be negotiated is that they do nightly tours of the prison. So you can go and tour it. So we have to negotiate with the prison tour system because I don't want anybody in the building. I want to go in and I want them to, padlock, because if I need to get out, I want to get out. Right. But they're going to lock it somehow. So they're in negotiation with that. Well, then on top of that, I have a lot of friends or guests, I would say, associates who have done a lot of work with Sci-Fi Channel. With some of their podcasts and stuff. So apparently it got wind back to Sci-Fi or someone at Sci-Fi. So now Sci-Fi, I've heard, is wanting to set the cameras up and actually record what happens. So it's going to be, like a doc, they're going to record it and maybe make a show out of it.
So how does your wife feel about it?
Oh, she thinks I'm nuts. Yeah, she thinks I'm crazy.
So you don't have any apprehension?
No. Of course, any human...
Or you feel like you're going to great adventure?
For me, it's all about the science. Because the only way that I'm going to do this, because Lloyd Auerbach, he was on the show and he's a scientist. And I asked Lloyd, I said, have you ever put EEGs? Because Lloyd's belief is that ghosts don't actually physically manifest. They're not physical. What happens is that you have a process through perception in which they manifest in your perception. So, and this makes sense. When you see, like I'm looking at my Tim Hortons coffee mug here, Tim Hortons, the best, I don't want to say cheapest coffee, but the best inexpensive coffee you'll ever drink. When you're looking at it, you're not actually seeing a Tim Hortons. You're interpreting what you see as a Tim Hortons mug. Does that make sense? It's an interpretation. It's all about
perception.
It's all about perception. Exactly. So I asked him on the show, I said, have you ever done a brainwave study with someone who is experiencing paranormal activities? And he was like, no. Well, not in the real. Like they've done EEGs and they've done MRIs on people, but not during an actual event. And I said, hey, I'll do it. And so I threw that out there. And of course, the next day, Monday, I get, hey, got 2 places for you. so we're putting it
pretty
together.
Quick.
Yeah. We're at, and for those that know, I'm scared to death of ghosts. Hence the heart monitor that's going to be hooked up to me.
I think I will have to tune in for that show.
Well, I'm going to have you on as a guest during that show. What are you talking about tuning in? I had an experience where I had a haunting where I woke up and there was a basically an apparition of a police officer standing at the foot of my bed with my first wife who we got divorced, and she moved out of the house and I was left there. Long story, but needless to say, 2 days later I was packed up and I was gone. I'm one of these guys, when I hear the voices get out, I'm gone. I ain't sticking around waiting to see, what comes next. I'm definitely out of there.
So about the jail where you'll be spending a night, do you plan on going to bed or are you going to be up all night looking for activity?
Well, we're going to do the show So we're going to start at 10 or whatever, well, they're Central Time. So we'll start at 11 and we'll do the show from there. The only requirement is, obviously we got to have internet. And so we'll do the live broadcast during the show. And then you figure you got 2 or 3 more hours and I'll just walk around and I'll take, callers can call in and talk to me in the earphone and say, hey, go in that cell. Shut the thing, lay down in the bed, and I'll do it. Yeah, what the heck?
I love how calm you are right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be freaking out when, hopefully we'll get Tim Hortons to provide coffee for the support crew and me.
So do you think it will be more than 5 people walking around there?
What do you mean? More than 5?
Or because you talk about the support crew, or it's only going to be you there.
I'm gonna be the only one in the building. Now, obviously, we got to have people outside the building. I want an ambulance. I want Debbie Vigay there. She's an exorcist. I want Lloyd Auerbach, just in case, just in case something attaches itself to me.
That was my next question. Have you ever thought about if you end up being in a place which is you don't know how concentrated it is, and you walk out with an attachment? I'm
not worried about attachments. I know how to deal. We're creatures of light. What is really, really strange? I now know how to deal with those attachments. Because of the show, I've been given great advice from some really good guests, and bring it to me now. If you're one of those entities and you want to attach to me, all I'm going to do is put your butt back to where you belong, because I'm not too. What really? This is what really gets me now, and it's kind of weird that it's switched. I was always one of these guys who were afraid of ghosts or demons or something like that, and always thought it would be cool to meet an alien. I had Laura on the show last Friday. Was it? No, she was on Monday. So that's an issue. I got to get my all these great shows run together. But she was on the show. Yeah, last Friday. And she was talking about regression and with alien abduction. And now it's switched for me. I'm not afraid of the demons or anything like that anymore. It's the little gray men that make me nervous. So after talking with her. So I don't know. It's just one of those things.
That is quite an adventure.
Yeah.
So it will be fun to know how it goes.
Well, you'll hear about it. It'll be on the radio. we're gonna broadcast live. It's gonna be live over the airwaves, over the internet, and but we are definitely going to do it. I think that's what we'll call Fat Man and the Ghost. That's it. We'll call it the show. And basically I'll just travel, do the show from remote locations and, hang out with dead people or spirits of dead people, I should say.
Or you could connect with a group in California, because I was on their show, California Haunts.
Yeah.
So they go to different graveyards, cemeteries, different buildings, and they explore.
Yeah, but see, my thing is that's a group of people, and I don't think you get the same. So this is the thing, is that I don't think you get, because we are all energy, staying with the theme of tonight's show. I think what happens is that, if you follow along with Lloyd Auerbach's thing, is that the perception. So you actually become the antenna, and you kind of said this, that especially with the Reiki that you were talking about, that you have a transmitter and you have an antenna, and so you become that thing. So when you have 8 or 9 or 5 people or 2 people or 3 people, I think what happens is that your self-awareness and everything is distracted. How did I say? You get distracted.
I agree with you to some degree, because there's too much energy being meshed together.
Yeah. So I think if you're just an individual, right, doing it yourself, obviously I'm going to be scared out. I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm going to be scared out of my freaking mind. So I'm already going to be at a heightened state. And that's why I think it's important that we have the EEG so you can see that, right? And then if I have an experience, the question is this, is that does it prove Dr. Lloyd Auerbach's theory that it's all about perception? Am I actually seeing a manifestation? Hard to say. Or is it all in my head? And so the EEG will hopefully help us with that, right? And so that it's for this, things I do for science.
That's fascinating because we focus on so many rational and logical ideas that I believe the world was created in balance.
Yeah.
That there are many things out there that I'm sure that are unseen, but they do exist, or there's a possibility they do.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's one for you. The Mandela Effect? Have you heard with that? Have you played with that? Has that messed with your energy levels? You know.
I was going to ask what it is.
Oh, okay. So the Mandela Effect is basically, science has already proven that there's multiverses. There's multi-universes. I mean, I don't want to say has already proven through the hypothetical mathematics, they have proven multiverse, different universes. The theory is, I'm going to ask you this question. You're a New York gal, so I can ask a great show called, I want you to finish the name of the show.
Uh-oh.
Sex. Remember?
And the City?
Sex and what?
And the City?
In the City?
No, and the City.
See, you're part of, all right. So I did the same thing. I always known it as Sex in the City.
Actually, you are correct.
All right, there you go. That's the Mandela Effect. All right, so the theory is that CERN opened up when they did the Hadron Collider, or the collider there at CERN, they opened up a multiverse. And that multiverse is now bleeding over. You cannot find anywhere where it's Sex in the City. I can tell you without a doubt that it was Sex in the City, because when I lived in Chicago, I used to go to Sex in the City show parties with a lot of my actor buddies and my friends. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. I love that show. I don't care what people. I also like Gilmore Girls, and so
I wouldn't have guessed that. I was going to say, who were you dating? No,
it was me. I was single. Actually, I was single at the time. But I loved that show. I hung out with a lot of theater people, and because you find that I don't care what your beliefs are and who you sleep with. That's none of my business. So I don't get into that with people.
I have watched every show of that.
I love Sex. And it's funny. I picked it up like on the third season is when I started watching it. I was like, wow, this is really good. I loved the writing of it. It was awesome. And so it was Sex in the City. Well, guess what? If you Google it now, it's Sex and the City.
So I'm not completely bonkers.
No, you're not. Another example is, all right, so baloney, Oscar
Mayer.
All right. Guess what it's called now?
Is it Oscar Myers?
Mayer.
I'm not sure. Oh, Mayers.
We always knew it as Oscar Mayer. And it's now Mayer. So the theory is what has happened is that CERN has opened up and there's a whole list of this. So CERN has opened up this parallel universe to ours, and it's bleeding through. So what we hear is called the Mandela Effect. So what we knew things as, it's actually changing, it's affecting us. It's changing us here. But there's people that have pictures. It's funny. There's people that have taken pictures years ago that have not been media. They're not media pictures. They're like physical pictures, and they're Oscar Mayer. And now and you talk to Oscar Mayer and they're like, no, it's always been Oscar Mayer.
Interesting. On a side note, I used to be a private coach to one of the child actors who used to do commercials for Oscar Mayer, whatever it turned out to be.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So that's the Mandela. So you talk about a change in energy, a phase shift. I mean, that's basically what it is. That's why a lot of people, the theory is that's why a lot of people are really sensitive these days, is because they're kind of caught between these multiverses. You have, you're kind of in what universe am I in? And I had an experience, kind of like a Matrix experience, where I was walking down the hall and the hall basically turned into digital, where it was all like mathematical. It was like a calculate, like kind of like the Matrix. That was, and that's when I made a comment to a guest. I said, what would, and that's when they explained to me the Mandela Effect. They said, yeah, you had a Mandela Effect episode. It's like,
did that happen? Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, that just happened last week. And that's how I learned about the Mandela Effect.
Okay, because I was going to ask, did that happen to you during the time when you used to do coding and software writing?
Nope. Never had an issue with that. Never had an issue. You know what's really weird is, well, not weird. I got to change my lexicon. What is really special, what is really cool about doing these shows is that my world has been opened up tremendously. And, I had a view of the world, and I viewed, like, here's a great example. The master himself, Art Bell. I'd listen to Art Bell shows, and I would listen to them as like an entertainment. They were intriguing and they were entertaining at the same time. So I would listen to them at an entertainment level. Now that I'm on this side, and I get to talk to people like you, and I get to talk to our guests, they're not just, they're enlightening. My perspective on life and everything has changed dramatically in the last month and a half because of the exposure and the enlightenment that I've gotten from guests like you and guests like Laura, all the guests. Some of them a little bit, be fair, a little bit out there, a little esoteric, but every guest that I've ever had, I've gained something from that experience, and it has definitely changed me as a person.
I think that's what I also enjoy about radio, that as I also meet guests, there's a part of my curiosity that also gets answered. And it pushes me to be more, I would say, compassionate and understanding that there's so many different ways of living life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, you got to live life. I think, what was that movie with Angelina Jolie? There was a very powerful, it was Gia. Remember that movie, Gia?
Yep.
The most poignant part of that movie is where she's sitting there at the end of her modeling career. And the photographer's sitting up on the ladder or whatever. He's taking his picture, and he goes, "What's wrong, Gia?" Because she's at the top of her modeling. She was it, and she just her response, and then the photographer's response says, "Gia, it's life. You're supposed to live it." And that to me was the whole movie. That was the movie for me, is that message of, hey, it's life. You're supposed to live it. So all the things that we go through, positive, negative, good, bad, whatever however you want to label them, that's part of your life. You're supposed to experience those. It's what you do after you experience those is what makes you who you are today, or what eventually you will become later in life.
Very true. And there are people who are afraid to start living their life.
Yeah. Yeah. There are. They really, really are. There are people who, for whatever reasons, they think that they aren't good enough. They think that they won't be successful. They think they won't. And that's not true at all. That's everybody has it in them to do great things. And I'm hoping, I'm hoping this show will bring that out in people. I can't wait until we get our phone lines hooked back up and I can give Jeff's fireside chats with people. No, I'm not a therapist. I'm not going to do that. That's not my job.
Speaking of energy, I know you talked about you're going to have 8 phone lines being added in the Skype. Are you ready for all of that energy just to get flying in?
Am I ready? No, but do I think we can handle it? Because I think so. I think we'll be able to do it. One of the things, this show, these shows of recent are one-sided, and that's why I'm trying to keep up in chat with people in chat. But the problem is that as we grow the show and we get a few thousand people in chat, it's going to be almost near impossible to keep up with them. So what we're going to have to do is, the first 2 hours will be guest. Then we're going to have that hour buffer between guests and listeners. And then we'll just do all listeners. And then the other thing too, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I've been asked to go to a 5-hour show. And we'll probably do that.
Is that from the network?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's for the radio because they want to put us right up against another very popular late night show. Which is good. Thank you for the accolades. But after we get our studio, completed, the new equipment in place and everything, then we're going to go to a 5-hour segment.
I think that will be fun.
Yeah, because our show is going to be different. I'm never going to filter. The only thing no F-bombs, right? That's the only thing that I ask is don't be, treat it as you're in someone's home. You want to talk like a sailor, then go out and hang out with your sailor buddies. But that's the only thing. But other than that, it's going to be open. I'm not going to censor. I don't, if you want to talk about the New World Order and how they're all evilly possessed and how they, whatever, then I'm going to let you talk. The only requirement I have on the show for my guests is I don't have to believe you as long as you believe yourself. That's all I care about. If you're just on here to sell books and stuff, go somewhere else. I'll give you the phone number to the other show. You can contact them. No, it's going to be open and honest and just a great discussion.
So have you ever had guests where the censors went off?
What do you mean censors?
I mean with the F-bombs and the profanity?
No, I had one. I had one who slipped. And how do I say this? It wasn't that they got belligerent with each other. They were actually fighting. We had a guest on the phone and we had the guest. And once again, look, let's talk. Politics is a very highly charged topic in this country. And, a lot of people on either side think that they have the answer. And they are so further from the truth. No one has no one really has the answer with what. And so this whole mindset that we've gotten into that you either believe the way I believe or you're a traitor, communist SOB. I'm not going to promote that. Not on this show. Go somewhere else. There's plenty of other shows you can go on. Go do your own show. I don't care. I don't believe that. I don't believe that any one person or one group has the answers to anything. I think we all need to get there together. And that's the other part. What are you going to do? You're going to leave everybody else on an island? What kind of human is that? What kind of person? What kind of individual? It's so much better when you can bring everybody with you in growth and, spiritual growth and just growth in general. So by saying it's my way or the highway, that's not a world I want to live in.
There are a lot of people who want to be right, but that's a pity party for one.
Yeah. It takes an intelligent person to look at both sides. Do I want to live in a world that has crime and no? Do I want to live in a world where everybody walks around living in fear? No. So there's a media. There's a point in the middle. And we've gotten away from that in this country. You're either left or you're either right it drives me nuts. It's either one way or the other. And I don't know. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. But at the end of the day, see, I appreciate both sides, because at the end of the day, I truly believe that people, not government and not politicians, people just want to live. They want to be able to provide for their families. They want to be able to enjoy life, and they just want to live. All of this other stuff is extracurricular. It's all the distractions that get you away from what is important, and that's just live life. God's put a great world out there for you, for all of us. You know, look at a blade of grass. Start simple, and look how amazing that is. And then, you know, go look at the trees. Go look at life itself and see how amazing that is, and how fortunate you are to be a part of that. Think about it. You could have been born. This is the thing that kills me. You could have, the universe is vast. There are more stars in the sky than there are grains of sand. It's proven, scientifically proven, mathematically proven. There are more stars in the heavens than there are grains of sand. And the fact that you were born, and you were born on the planet Earth, the Goldilocks planet, as they would call, the planet that scientifically shouldn't be here, the planet that without the moon orbiting it at its rate in which it orbits, and at its position and its size, if it wasn't for the moon to be here, this planet wouldn't be here. For all those things to come in alignment in itself, astronomically, to come in alignment is just a wonderful, beautiful thing. And the fact that you were born a human versus whatever you could have been brought back as a frog, toad, lizard, whatever, that you're a human, and you're going to worry about who's getting elected next week or next month. That's what occupies your mind. Are you kidding me? Life is a beautiful thing. And we need to stop getting, these distractions that people keep throwing in front of us. We need to start, seeing the world around us and the energy around us. I mean, we are energy creatures. We need to, that's a sense that we need to start observing more and more. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox. Sasha, thank you for having me on your show. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I was going to just say that. I'm like, thank you, Jeff, for letting me interview you.
But hey, it's a conversation. It's
right,
not an
I
interview.
like real people, and I want to thank you for sharing parts of your life, because it makes you who you are.
Yeah. I wish more people would do that. Maybe we need, here you go. Here's a show idea. Maybe we ought to just have a show with an audience member, with a listener. I believe everybody's got a story to tell. I'll bring it out of you. I will bring it out of you. I think that might be a good show idea. Just have a listener call in and we'll do a show. Everybody's got something special to talk about.
See, if you never shared what you shared earlier, it's not that I would go looking for it, but it's one of those things that typically we meet people in different stages of their lives, and we never imagine what they went through to make them who they are today.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I've learned not to judge anybody in that regard, because you don't know what you want to learn. And I've learned like Trump, Donald Trump, President Trump, I look at his evolution, the President Trump. I look at Donald Trump's evolution. Hillary Clinton, I look at her evolution. I look at what's in their past. And everybody I do. I try to look at the past and what shaped them, what motivates them. And then, like I said, if I see stuff that's troubling in their past and they haven't atoned for it, then yeah, I have an issue. So, but yeah, we need to understand there's something more than the person than what is sitting in front of you today. There is so much more and everything. So Oh, Sasha, we have come to that point in which, unfortunately, we have to say au revoir.
I know. I want to thank your audience for tuning in. And I do want to thank you for having the faith that I could come back and not knock us out for the third time.
You tried. You tried really hard, but no, we overcame. I'll have you third, fourth, fifth, sixth time. I enjoy talking with you. It's
same here.
It's a great.
I loved it, but I learned a lot, and I do look forward to the time when you go to Ohio and how things pan out there.
Well, like I said, what are you talking? I'm gonna be. You're gonna be one of my resources, because I'll be like, hey, what's the energy level? What What are you feeling right now?
I know you're luring me in.
I'm setting you up. I got my key advisors. How do you say? I got my key spiritual advisors that I'm going to keep around me, and they keep me safe. Like I said, that's why it doesn't concern me, because I know I'm going to have good people supporting me as I do this. So it's like anything else. It's never the individual. It's the team that is behind you.
It will be fun.
Yes. No, it's going to be a blast. Are you kidding me? It's going to be how cool if we can put it together before Halloween. How about that?
I was going to ask you if you have a time frame for when you're going to do it.
I'm ready to go now. If we just got to get the A-OK. The only requirement is that I have is, number one, is I can get an EEG. I can get a portable EEG. That's not a problem. The only thing that we have is that we obviously have to secure permission. I would like to do both of them back to back. So when I go, because just effectiveness of money, when I go to Ohio, I'd like to go to the bar there in Ohio. And then when I'm done with that, the next night or the night after, if I recuperate, go to the penitentiary. And, so we're cost effective, obviously, I'm not made of money. And then do, so as soon as possible, as soon as we can secure the rights to do it and the permission, I'll secure everything else. I'll make sure that I have the EEG and I have all the equipment with me. And I don't want to, this is the thing too, is I don't want to get away and make it a big production. I know that Sci-Fi Channel is interested in doing it, but they're going to, if they start putting a bunch of conditions on it, I'm going to say, look, I'll buy my own camera. I'll go. I'm sure we have enough listeners in Ohio that they will provide cameras for us. That they'll bring their cameras and we'll set them up on tripods or whatever we got to do.
Oh, I'm more than sure that people will want to engage and help you out.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, we'll make it a big party outside. As I'm getting the bejesus scared out of me, everybody else can have their Halloween party outside. I just have this image. I told Sandy the other day or yesterday, I said, there's this image I have in my head of me being, especially at the penitentiary, because it's multi-level. So you see this flashlight like walking through the windows as you're looking up. So you're like, oh, there's Jeff in the East Wing. And all of a sudden you see this flashlight just like booking, down the hallway. I just have that image in my head of this, old Cavalier kind of, oh yeah, flashlight. Hey, Jeff going to the window waving to people and, just doing that. And all of a sudden the next image, it cuts away to, you see this flashlight just running down the hallway. And then like 2 minutes later, you hear me banging on the door. Let me out of this place. I do. I have that image in my head. So
I think it will be fun and entertaining. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good times. Good times, right? Oh, yeah. And stuff. So with that, though, we definitely have to say goodnight and thank you so
much. But thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for coming back on the show, giving it a second shot. And we ran into the problem, but we'll do it again. We'll get together later on and we'll do another show, because it's always a pleasure talking to you, Sasha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be well. And hey, stick on, listen to the song, because I think you're going to like this one. I don't know if you heard it last time you were on, but it's by my good friend Ed Roman, who's actually going to be on Friday night show. He's going to be joining us. He is on tap to be 2016 Indie Artist of the Year. This guy has been just knocking them down. I mean, just knocking them down as far as awards go. So with that, I just, hang on, Sasha, though. Don't, listen, hang on to the air, because I think you're going to like this song. So like everybody else and everything, I just want to say, hey, thank you guys for joining us there in the chat room. Thanks for coming back. Becky, I see you. Peroxide, I see you. John, of course, great questions. I got to get my accolades out here. And some of you guys who got bumped out, I do apologize about that, but we did have a small internet hiccup during the show about the same time that we had it last time Sasha was on. But I just want to say thank you guys. Like I said, it's always a pleasure to be on the air with you guys, especially talking to you. And like always, great shows come from great guests. They really do. And Sasha is no exception to that. She's just outstanding. And I thoroughly enjoyed talking with her tonight. And more importantly, thank you guys, you listeners out there, for interacting with us and asking the great questions that you did. And like always, if you can be one thing, if you can strive to be one thing, maybe better husband, better wife, better father, better mother, better daughter, better son, whatever it is, one thing, if you can be one thing, be love. That's the most important thing, is my good friend, Mr. Ed Roman. Take care of yourself, and until we meet again tomorrow night, remember, be love.
In a fraction of an inch. Conversation with Jeff Norton on the Paranormal State Radio